Good evening on this election eve, primary June 28th, the year of our Lord 2022. Greetings. I am Deborah Payton Jones, and I am here to talk to you about tomorrow's election. You may ask, what is Voter Education 365? Voter Education 365 will strive to then make sure our communities, now what do I mean by our communities? That we provide information for voters and the tools to overcome all barriers and hurdles that have historically prohibited comprehensive voter education. We will spearhead efforts to educate the masses in order to help them develop a clear understanding that every aspect of our lives are impacted by voting. Every aspect of your life is impacted by voting. We will encourage active participation by all individuals in all elections, local, regional, and national. We will work to eliminate the fragmented disinformation and any information that is not proper and not accurate as it relates to voting policies and practices. Procedures, we will make sure that we will empower individuals with the knowledge and the capability to combat voter suppression. We will fervently publicize the fact that all politics is local. We will cultivate ambassadors of voting charged with immobilizing their communities. We want them to engage all of their community members in the political process. We want to motivate and encourage individuals and their neighbors. We want you to pay it forward. We want to make sure that you help to inspire someone to want to learn about the educational process. We are so happy today to have with us some of our partners. We'll start with Madeline McConney. Madeline, we want you to come on screen. We want you to, everyone in the audience, to see that you are here to help us make sure that all voters understand the importance of voting.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Madeline Quintine McConney, president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. And we strive to push for public policy and advocacy. And we want you to understand that voting is a privilege, a right, and you must come out and vote. If anything has been more important this year, this is it. So we have to do it. We must do it. It is our fundamental right. Don't let our ancestors down by not going to vote. It is important. Please, everyone, I implore you, please vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next community member is Dr. Pam Allen.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and greetings from Keep Your Change Academic Support Program at the Quintine Community Center in Amityville. And we are very, very excited to be a part of this wonderful programming, bringing this information to our community. I'm sad to say that our turnout in the early voting was very poor from what I saw, and we went to visit some of the sites. And when in speaking to people, people have not been informed. So now I am hoping that after we spread this word and they know about Deborah Payton Jones' wonderful show and this effort that she is putting out to inform and educate our people, which will empower our communities, I am sure that we're going to go to those polls and just show off.
Felicia here. Thank you so very much. That was just amazing. And I'm loving the background, loving the educational background, the subliminal messages being put forth. Thank you so very much for that. I don't know if one of our other partners are here, but what we will say is once they do arrive, we'll be able to bring them in and introduce them. So without further ado, we have candidates here. And before we start with the candidates, Dominic, are you ready to do the reading? We're going to read off to all the individuals here exactly what is tomorrow's election, who's running, What is a primary? So we're just going to start with who. Are you ready, Dominique? Dominique's going to read all of the individuals that are running, the positions, and just know, as we stated earlier, Voter Education 365 is nonpartisan. So we're here to educate, not to tell you who to vote for. I approve that message.
Running for governor, we have Kathy Hochul, Thomas Swazi, Jermaine D. Williams, Rob Astorino, Andrew Giuliani, Harry Wilson, and Lee Zeldin. For lieutenant governor, we have Ana Maria Arquila, Antonio Delgado, Diana Reyna, and Allison Esposito. For comptroller, we have Thomas P. DiNapoli, Paul Rodriguez, Letitia A. James. No, sorry, that's just comptroller. And now Attorney General, we have Letitia A. James, Michael Henry. For County Court Judge, we have John Illu and Karen M. Willatus. And for Family Court Judge, we have Rosa Maria Abate.
It's important that you do research on who's running. So when you reach the polls, you're not asking the individuals there helping you make sure the process goes smoothly who you should vote for. So we just want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence.
Come in
Now,
ready.
thank you. Now we're going to say that without further ado, we have candidates here. And Smiley, who do we have up first? We're going to not do what the normal Meet the Candidates forum would be. Those who are here first will speak first, and then we'll be able to ask each of the persons that are watching in the viewing audience. If you have a question or a comment, please put it in the chat. We are monitoring all chats, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, and or our chat here with our StreamYard. So welcome, Tom. Welcome.
How are you, Deborah?
Amazing. It's great seeing you. We want to let all of the candidates know that what we want you to do is to give us a 1 minute who you are and what your platform is. I know that's hard to do for individuals, but for politicians, it's how you are stomping out there. Then we want you to look dead straight in the camera and tell the viewing audience why they should vote for you. That's it. You know why? Because that's what they need to know for tomorrow. We can talk about the redistricting and all the other things that come later. But right now, who are you? Tom, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I hope a lot of folks on this call know me already. I've been around for a while, but I'm talking about three things in this campaign. Number one, I'm a proven executive. I know how to run things and get things done. I'm trained as a CPA and an attorney. I was the mayor of Glen Cove for 8 years. I was the county executive of Nassau County for 8 years, and I've been in Congress for the past 5.5 years. I'm on the Ways and Means Committee. And I love Congress. It's a great honor. It's a great responsibility, but I'm giving it up because New York State's in so much trouble. And I feel like everything I've done in my life has prepared me for this particular job at this particular time. Number two, I'm a common sense Democrat. I'm not going to pander to the left. I'm not going to back down to the right. I'm going to work with anybody who wants to actually help people and make the world a better place to live in. Don't go into politics unless you're genuinely committed to helping people. I'll work with anybody, Democrats, Republicans, progressives, moderates, anybody, if you really want to help the people. I won't change my values, but I'll try and find common ground with you to get things done. And number three, I'm very clear on my agenda. You don't have to try and search out what I stand for. You can't say that about the other candidates. I'm very clear as day. Number one, we've got to reduce crime. It's a very big problem in our state. I have a 15-point plan that goes from fixing bail reform all the way to education and helping the kids in our troubled schools that have been left behind for such a long time. Number two, we have to reduce taxes. People say, Tom, you're talking about crime and taxes. Those are Republican issues. No, they're not. People, everybody's concerned about crime and taxes. We can't afford to live here anymore in New York State. People are leaving in big numbers. Everybody on this call knows somebody that moved to Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Arizona. They're leaving. The taxes are too high. They can't afford it here anymore. Number three, help the kids in our troubled schools. And number four, New York State has been declared the most corrupt state in the United States of America, not by me, but by the Washington Post. How many people have we lost to scandal or indictment in the New York State elected offices, whether it's the previous governors, attorney general, comptroller, Shelley Silver, Joe Bruno, Dean Skelos? The lieutenant governor got arrested for bribery and corruption after being there for 8 months. That's not normal. We have to hold the politicians accountable. Diana, Reyna, and I will hold people accountable and fight for the people. Okay, I got a lot to talk about, but I know that other people want to talk as well.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you making sure that you make time and space for others. That may give people an opportunity to see how you would govern. Next, Diana.
Thank you so much, Deborah. It's an honor to be here with you all. I'm very proud to be a lifelong Democrat like Tom. I have shared values with Tom, having served in the city council for 12 years, my hometown of Williamsburg, Bushwick, and Ridgewood, Queens, the opportunity to serve with Eric Adams as his deputy Brooklyn Borough president, to have been a chief of staff in my early days in politics. It wasn't a happenstance. It was an opportunity for me to work a summer in my community, helping my community, and I fell in love with politics and what it can do for people. We have to restore integrity in our state. The opportunities to be able to work on issues that matter most to New Yorkers. Affordable housing is a huge priority amongst us because we need an affordable state to live in, and that runs across New York. The opportunities to be able to assist people so that they can keep their land or home because they're land rich and income poor, house rich and income poor. The opportunities to be able to see what is broadband issues in upstate New York versus access to government resources in Yates County without punitive actions because of the affiliation of their party. The opportunities to tackle crime by addressing the bail reform fixes we need. This isn't about being against bail reform. This is about making sure that we're responding to the public safety issues that every New Yorker is concerned about. I'm a wife of a distinguished veteran in the New York City Police Department who was just promoted to captain. And I'm very proud of him with a clean record to be able to have served his city, served his state. We grew up together in Williamsburg, not the Williamsburg of today, but the Williamsburg in Brooklyn of the 70s and 80s. And we understand, having grown up in that community in the most troubled of times, what it's like to live in fear. And I do not want that for the next generation or generations to follow. I'm a mother of 2 young public school students, teenage boys, traveling the city to go to school. The opportunities to know that they are safe, that we're all safe, is on every New Yorker's mind. This is the issue that is number one on our campaign trail and what New Yorkers have been sharing. I'm a first-generation Dominican American. My mom came in 1965 as a single woman with a dream of opportunities, leaving behind what was the assassination of a dictator, a civil war. She had a promising future because she came to America. And that is the America that has worked for our family to be able to graduate, not just college, high school, but middle school. My parents didn't have that opportunity to have an education. And we all know education is the great equalizer in people's lives. We have to ensure that every student in New York is receiving a quality education.
We agree, and we thank you so much. We thank you and Tom both. We want to let the viewing audience have a little understanding. The governor in the United States is a governor of, and he or she is the chief executive officer of a state and controls the day-to-day governmental business. The lieutenant governor, generally the lieutenant governor is the state's highest officer following the governor and assumes the role. We may have seen something like that play out in real life when the governor is out or incapacitated.
We've seen that a lot, Deborah. We've seen that a lot.
We'll just keep it to a few minutes and say we've
Okay.
seen. The lieutenant governor also becomes the governor should the governor die, resign, or be removed from office. So this is, when we say foundational education for people out there voting, we want them to understand what that means. So that way, as we progress, and as you both come back to this forum, we'll be able to continue to create educated voters in a manner in which will help all of us. Because as we all know, all politics are local. And getting them to understand that will help them locally, and it'll help you on your opportunity to discuss in all the 60 plus counties that you must lord over had you been blessed, or if you're blessed with becoming the next governor and lieutenant governor. We want to say thank you for coming. We want to keep the opportunity and the communication lines open. But what we also want to do is have you shoot us an email and tell us, was this the best way for us to reach you? Is there a better way for us to reach you? Once you are out of this forum, who is watching? Let's give you a little tidbit about that before we go into Stephen. A little bit about who's watching. We represent Voter Education 365 it's like a dream come true. It was incorporated in New York in 2020. We received our 501c3 status in 2021. And what are we in now? 2022. We received it in 2022. The pandemic has made every day seem like it's one long day. It's like Groundhog Day, and it just never ends. But the blessings and the benefit is that people have been able to do things that they may not have taken the time to do in the past. We also have with us in this group members of Black Long Island. Black Long Island is a group of Facebook individuals that comprise 41,000 members throughout Long Island. And those 41,000 members are always eager to hear and see who has their best interest at heart. We also have with us, and once you review the tape again, we have other community partners that have partnered with us today so that they will then be able to share this information with those that are their constituents. So just know that when we speak to one, you're speaking to many. And we want to make sure that this message is shared as many times as possible. So if you can stay on and hear your fellow politicians, we would love to have you. We know that each one of you have other things to do throughout the night, but we would be honored if you stay on just a little longer to hear what the other candidates have to say, because those would be the people that you'd be working with as well.
Very good. I'll stay on.
Thank you so much.
Diana, I know you have other stuff to do. If you can't stay, I'll handle it. But if you want to stay, please.
I will support this evening by staying on a few more minutes. I just have to get home to my children who haven't eaten and keep sending me messages.
Let me just say that if Diana is elected as lieutenant governor, she will be the first Latina elected statewide in the history of New York State. So she'll be a history-making figure.
I'm so happy to hear that. We're going to next bring on Steve Englebright. Steve, we want you to come on and you tell the viewing audience, tell us what you're running for, who you are, look straight in the camera, and why they should vote for you.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I don't really want to campaign so much this evening. It's just introduce myself and talk about what I see as the issues that we're facing, and what I do. A little about myself. I'm a geologist by training. I was the curator of geology at the State University of New York at Stony Brook for 46 years. And part of that time overlapped with my time in government. I served 10 years in the Suffolk County Legislature and have been, since 1992, have been privileged to serve in the New York State Assembly. I presently chair the Committee on Environmental Conservation. What I was hoping to have a chance to talk about is the fact that we have an opportunity to invest into a healthy and sound environment. There is an Environmental Bond Act that will be on the ballot in the fall for $4.2 billion. And it's the first time in about 25 years that we've had an opportunity to see an investment into the future and even the immediate well-being of our communities as we are being buffeted by 100-year storms that come about once every 18 months or so, and the increased ferocity of an overheated ocean and a turbulent atmosphere is a threat to the health and well-being, and especially for us on Long Island, even the existence of many of our shoreline communities. The Environmental Bond Act then is something I just want to bring to everyone's attention here. It's on the ballot, and it's important to inform everybody that that is something that they can actually do to protect our way of life and our quality of life, and indeed the global environment in the fall when we vote. Things that I have worked on this year through the committee include revising for the first time in 47 years, the New York State Freshwater Wetlands Act. That's important because we've been burning so many fossil fuels that we have too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That's what's driving ocean acidification and the environmental overheating of our planet. And it is freshwater wetlands that are nature's most efficient mechanism for extracting excess carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So protecting them is a priority. That's something that we did as a part of the budget this year. So I just want to bring those matters to people's attention. I'm very concerned, as we all should be, about the spiraling costs that our citizens are enduring. We are doing everything we can, again, during the budget process this year with a gas tax holiday that I helped lead the effort for, that authorized a 18-cent holiday for the state gas tax and authorized local counties to add an additional 8 cents in gas tax relief. So we've done some things to help keep the wolf from the door, but we still have more work to do, and I'm looking forward to continuing to serve the people who have had a privilege to serve for these many years. You know, it's a seniority-based system, and the longer you are able to serve, the more leverage you have, and the more you can do for the people who you represent. And so I am really just getting into my political midlife now, and I look forward to continuing to serve because I think I have made a difference and I can continue to do so. And I appreciate this opportunity very much to inform everybody who's listening in. Thank you.
I'm so happy that you started off with that. And I would like to ask you just 2 follow-ups. One, tell everyone, where is District 4? Tell them what that comprises, 1. And then 2, I'm going to then give them a little description of what an assembly person does. But I want you to tell them the committees that you sit on as well. Those 2 questions.
Sure. So the 4th Assembly District includes Port Jefferson and Stony Brook, south to Coram. Gordon Heights is the southern boundary of my district. I live in Setauket, and the district runs from the Smithtown line east to Mount Sinai, south to Coram. I sit on as the chair of the Committee on Environmental Conservation in the Assembly, but I also sit on the Higher Education Committee, the Rules Committee, and the Energy Committee. I'm the senior member of a couple of those committees, and again, seniority matters in a seniority-driven system. What does an assemblyman do? We make policy and we make law. We watch the back of our citizens. We try to make sure that when we do the state budget, that we're investing into education. That's an incredibly important part of what we do each year. We bring back money for our local schools to help hold down local property taxes and invest into the next generation. The scope of what we can deal with is as broad as everything from highways, and in fact, we're in the process now of restoring the road surfaces of many of our main arterials, some of which have deteriorated terribly. We're trying to put that back together. You know, we invented suburbia here on Long Island, and we really do need the ability to keep our roads, uh, smooth enough to drive on and get to work and continue our way of life. So that's a little bit about what we do. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
I have one more follow-up question to that. And the follow-up question to that is, has or did the redistricting impact your constituent area?
Yes, indeed. Previously, I went as far as Gordon Heights to the south from the Long Island Sound shore, but in the past, the Gordon Heights community has been cut up like a pizza pie between several assembly districts. I thought that was unjust. I think it is important for the Gordon Heights community, which has a long history and a proud history back to the Revolutionary War, that it be a part of Setauket, where in 1655, the first settlement in north central Suffolk County was formed. Quorum was a part of it then, and it shouldn't be partitioned into multiple assembly districts now. So this reapportionment allowed for the assembly seat, at least, for Gordon Heights to be united. The entire Gordon Heights community is united for the first time in more than 50 years as a part of this assembly district. I'm very proud of that, and I really look forward to doing everything I can to serve the people who have been fragmented as a community in the past.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And as I did with the governor and lieutenant governor, I'm just going to read a little bit about the definition of what a assembly person does or what they lord over, because oftentimes we get constituents that don't know who to then ask for whatever the services are that they are in need of. And so by giving us and having us be able to create the foundational opportunity to educate people so that they know which office they need to call for what, it's just helpful. So an assembly person in New York State is the lower chamber of the New York State legislature. Alongside the New York State Senate, it forms the legislative branch of the New York State government and works alongside the governor of New York State to create laws and establish a state budget. A state budget. Households, you need to have a household budget, but this is how New York State lords over the budget. Legislative authority and responsibility of the New York State Assembly include passing of bills on public policy matters, setting levels of state spending, raising and lowering taxes, and voting to uphold or override gubernatorial vetoes. So as we look at who we're voting for, we want to make sure we understand that we're voting in someone that will take care of those areas. And of course, I'm talking to the viewing audience. In addition, I like to always read some of the comments. We have hundreds of people viewing. We find we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook, and we have hundreds of people. So thank you all for coming on, and hopefully we're giving you what you need. We also have a statement from Tom Suozzi saying, thank you for your leadership on the bottle bill, and thanking all of us and the viewers and saying, don't forget to vote tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. You know, any good marketer knows that you have to say something 7 times before a person even hears it. So I thank you, Stephen, and I really feel that what you've imparted to us, and I love your subliminal messages of, the longer you're in, I really feel it's so true, but you slipped it in so nicely, and I really enjoyed that. That was something I call a Peytonism. So that was excellent. Thank you.
Deborah, may I just say one thing quickly, because I have to go also. I saw Diana left already.
Yes, Tom.
Let me just say thank you so much for doing this. I want to say that Steve Engelbright is a great environmentalist. He's done a fantastic job. He's made a tremendous difference, not just in his district, but in the state on the issue of the environment. And I support him in that work that he does. I'm also an environmentalist. I was the New York State Environmentalist of the Year by the New York League of Conservation Voters for all of New York State at one time. I was the New York Immigration Coalition's Person of the Year. I have a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood, 100% rating from the Human Rights Campaign. I have an F rating from the NRA. I'm the chair of the Labor Caucus in Congress. And every politician says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And let me just point out that Diana Reyna, who had to go, will make history as the first Latina. But I've always made sure that my government that I work in, I try to make it look like the people I represent. Having appointed an African-American police commissioner as a commissioner of police in Nassau County when I first became county executive back in 2002. And he promoted Black and brown people up the ranks, such that Keechant Sewall got promoted up through the Nassau County ranks. Now she's the New York City police commissioner after rising to the rank of the head of detectives in Nassau County. I had an African-American deputy county executive for economic development, deputy county executive for Parks and Public Works was African-American, a Latina commissioner of health and a Latina commissioner of mental health, and a Latino commissioner of Parks and Recreation. I will always fight to make sure that my government looks like the people I represent. And I apologize that I can't stay on longer for this call, but please, everybody, I got to fill up my third of seventh times. Tuesday, tomorrow is election day. It's a Democratic primary. It's going to be very, very, very low turnout. And if you want people in office who are going to fight crime, lower taxes, help our troubled schools, and fight the corruption in Albany, then Tom Suozzi, and my son said to me yesterday, he said, Dad, you should use this slogan. It's a no-brainer. Vote for Suozzi Reyna.
So before you go, we want to just say it is a Democratic and a Republican primary. So we want to make sure all of you in audience knows that, again, Voter Education 365 is nonpartisan, and we want to make sure that we present all the information. Yes, we did plan this just with a few days' notice, but we did invite every single candidate, and we thank those who were able to come, but we don't think any less of those who were not able to be here. Tom, what you made mention of your son, but you have to tell us a little bit about the family. Well, I can't say to Tom to say a little bit. I'll just say, how many children do you have? Because that'll be a quick answer.
Okay, so Helene and I celebrated our 29th anniversary yesterday, June 26th. And we have 3 children. Caroline, who graduated from Fordham and volunteered for a year on the island of Yap, 500 miles east of Guam in the Federated States of Micronesia at a Jesuit high school. She's now working for Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. Joe is 24. He is playing for the Brooklyn Cyclones. He's either plays left field or right field for the Brooklyn Cyclones. He hopes to become a New York Met. He's on the A team. He's hoping to move up to AA. And Michael is a freshman in college. He's 19 years old. And we're very blessed. And we thank God for the great gifts we have.
Because you cannot make mention of one child. I was sitting here saying, how can you dare make mention of one child when there are many?
That's
so right. I couldn't let you leave without that. And happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. And Steve, great to see you also. And hello to everybody on the call.
Thank you and good luck tomorrow.
Nice to see you as well.
Thanks, everybody. Please vote in the primary tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Steve, and you, children, can you tell us? I mean, we want to make sure that we're as personal as we possibly can be.
I have 2 daughters. They're both married now and live in the community. One is a teacher of mathematics. She has 3 children. I'm blessed with 3 wonderful grandchildren. My other daughter, just married 2 years ago, is a dentist. So we have a doctor in the family, Dr. Engelbright. We're very proud of both of these extraordinary young women. They are making contributions to the community that they grew up in, and I'm very proud of each of them.
As we are proud of you and all of your wonderful, wonderful bills that you bring forth, your compassion and your leadership. Continue doing what you do. We wish you all the best. And we want everyone to be able to research you so that they'll know about you as much as we do. Do you have anything else you would like to impart on to the audience? We're going to give you, since you're still staying, we're going to give you an opportunity to say a few more words.
Well, thank you. We're in very turbulent times with a war in Europe that is really creating incredible hardships. We see starvation in the South Sudan on the evening news this evening as a result of the cutting off of grain in the breadbasket of Europe. We see Russian missiles crashing into a non-military target with 1,000 shoppers in a mall earlier today, with untold numbers of casualties. That is washing across the globe as part of what is driving the inflation that we are all experiencing. You know, I can't tell you that I can change all of those things, but I do tell you that within the powers of the office that I hold, I still think New York can set an example. This is, after all, the Empire State. This was the state that had our first president, really. President Washington worked from Lower Manhattan. This is the capital of the nation. When the nation was divided by the Civil War, it was the Grand Army of the Republic that was populated mostly by soldiers from New York. We have those regimental flags in the state capitol. New York's important to not only the beginning of our nation and the continuation of our nation as the grandest experiment in democracy in the history of the world, but it's also the place where we have the strongest environmental laws that have been passed as we face the greatest existential threat in the history of civilization, which is global climate change. We can do things in New York, despite the fact that we're down ballot, we're not the top of the ballot, but we in state government have the opportunity, because we are New York, because we are the financial capital of the world, because of the history and regard that is held for New York by our sister states, we can make a difference. Please participate as we go into this election, keeping those thoughts in mind, because if you are a New York voter, you have, through your vote, the ability to help continue the grand tradition of our state and nation and improve the world.
Thank you so much. And that was eloquently stated. And I'm sure that the viewing audience got a lot out of that. And you covered a lot of ground. We want to keep the door open for you to visit us at any time. If you have anything you'd like to share, if you'd like to share with us bills that you may be curating and you want to, bounce it off as a focus group, we're here for you. So
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to let you get back to whatever you have to do next for tomorrow. And thank you so very much for your time, your energy, and your wisdom.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Okay, good night. So that was wonderful. We have a few more people backstage that we would like to bring forward. I believe Jackie Gordon is backstage. Now, you may say, well, Jackie's not running right now. But guess what? She is one of our local heroines. So we want to make sure that anyone that sees what we're looking to do and wants to be a part of it and want to make sure that the audience feels that everybody's on the same page with wanting you to be educated and make sure that you know what you are to expect. We want to make sure, and soon we're going to put up a link so that you can check your registration. But without further ado, we're going to bring forward Jackie Gordon.
Thank you. I was muted. Thank you, Deborah, and thank you, Smiley, and I have to give him props. And Dominique, they're backstage. They're handling all of this. 100 Black Women, Madeline Quintine, and of course, Dr. Pam with Keep Your Change for putting all of this together for us, because it is so, so very important. Let us be clear. So tomorrow is a primary, and it's not a primary for congressional candidates. So this year we had a lot of changes in New York. And so I'll just tell you briefly what happened if you missed any of it. And it was really confusing. It was like 3-card Monte. You've been in the city where you see the shell game. That's kind of like what was happening. 1 minute you were here, the next minute you were someplace else. So started off that I was running in the 2nd Congressional District, and then redistricting happened. And when redistricting happened, my home where I lived landed, and all of us, probably many of us that were watching, landed in the 2nd Congressional District, which then was most of the southern part of Suffolk County, with a small part of Nassau County, all the way to the east end. And that was the 1st Congressional District. And I landed in a primary. I was in a 3-way primary with Bridget Fleming and Kara Hahn. And then there was some litigation because folks didn't think that not only the 1st District and the 2nd District here in Suffolk County, but other districts in parts of New York State weren't fair. And so that litigation ended in a special master being assigned to redraw the districts impartially. And that special master wasn't even from New York, actually. They got someone from outside to arbitrate, and then someone from upstate to actually to draw the lines. So I landed where we are now in this 2nd Congressional District. And it is a small part of Nassau County, Massapequa, south of Sunrise. That's the only part of Nassau County. The towns of Babylon and Central Islip, towns of Babylon, town of Islip, and South Brookhaven, including the Barry Beaches, Fire Island, Oak Beach as well. So that's the 2nd Congressional District. So because of all of the confusion of redistricting and, candidates having to switch from district to district because of lines being drawn, the congressional and Senate districts, which was where the real controversy lied, those primaries were pushed back to August. So tomorrow's primary are for state races only. And then there will be a second set of primaries in August, on August 23rd, for congressional races and for state Senate races. So you'll vote tomorrow, and then you will vote again in August. And there will also be early voting in August as well. And then a set election day on August 23rd. So please be mindful of that. So Deborah wanted me to talk a little bit about why voting is important. And I think about just being here, right? As a Black woman, just being here, that's because of a vote, being able to exist as I do. When we look at the 13, 14, 15 amendments, that was all because of a vote. Many of us are so proud of President Obama being the first African-American president of the United States because of voting, because of our votes. Many of us are upset this week because of things that happened, because of voting, because of our votes. So when people tell me that their votes don't matter, I beg to differ, because voting affects almost everything that happens to us in this country. Most of you know that I ran last cycle, and I was in several cohorts. Like, I was in a cohort with veteran candidates, and I was in a cohort with candidates in red to blue races. And those are races that are going to be, that are very challenging races, right? So I was in 4 different cohorts. One of the cohorts that I was in, it was in Iowa, I believe. My colleague candidate lost her race by 6 votes. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 votes. Her race was actually the last race counted in the entire country. So voting is really, really important. and just think about what I said, that everything, our right to our civil rights, our right to be counted as a human being, our right to own land, our right to go to school and be educated, all of those things happened because of voting. And so if we want to continue, and now with what's happening in this country, not only continue, but to go back and codify some of the things that we have already worked hard for to make sure we don't lose those rights, plus continue to build so that we can get where we need to be, because there's work to be done and we're not there yet. We have to vote. And we cannot believe the narrative and the chatter about it's midterms and no one comes out to vote. That's not true. We can and we must exercise our right to vote and speak with the ballot box. So I've already voted early voting because I don't know what will happen tomorrow, and I don't put off until tomorrow what I can do today. So I've already voted. So if you haven't voted already during early voting, I implore you to vote tomorrow. That's for your state races. And please mark your calendar for August 23rd for your, if you have a congressional candidate that you would like to vote for, hopefully not in the 2nd Congressional District, and your state Senate races. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Jackie. This is what we wanted. Again, we're going to repeat that we are trying to bring foundational knowledge to everyone in our viewing audience. And I asked all of our speakers today to speak to why it's important to vote. Not only why, the litigation, it was hugely important. Most people didn't even know what Jackie Gordon was discussing. You just knew that one day you had a primary letter that said you were going to be coming to vote on June 21st. Then it was changed and you were going to be voting on June 28th. Mm-hmm. And then it was changed. Not only are you going to vote on June 28th, but we want you to come back and vote on August the 23rd. And as Jackie said, with early voting. Now, before we go into one of my favorite people, not that anyone prior was not one of my favorite people. That's why I said one of. We want to make sure that you understand, you as the viewing audience, understand the importance of early voting. Early voting has not been around for long. It's been around for 3 years. Early voting gives you an opportunity to vote on a machine 9 days for 9 days prior to the election. The only day that we don't have early voting is on today, Monday, so that way the machines can be turned over and we can then replace the machines that are out there with the ones that have no votes on them so that we can capture the rest of the votes. Early voting gives you an opportunity to vote 2 weekends and during the week. The New York State increased the number of voting locations from 13 to 26 in Suffolk County and equally in Nassau County. And why is that important for you to know? Because that means that you don't have excuses as to why you're waiting until the last day to vote. So we want you to begin getting out of your habits and begin thinking about early voting and how that can benefit you in a way that you had never thought of before. I got a phone call from someone earlier that said that they were going to be they were out of town and they had planned to be in town on election day. But I guess they were having a lot of fun and they're staying out of town. But had they voted early voting prior to leaving, they wouldn't have had this problem. So as Jackie also said, the next election will be August the 23rd for the congressional as well as state Senate seats. Early voting will begin August 13th, 10 days prior, but only for 9 of those 10 days. Use it and use it wisely. As I said, I have one of my favorite people coming up, and that is the one and only Kimberly Jean-Pierre. She will say to you and tell you what seat she holds currently, and why it's important for you to vote. She will also tell you what committees she sits on. And why is that important? Because as we read what an assembly person does, you need to understand what and why she ran and what she can lord over. So don't call her for things that she can't do, but even though she has friends in high places, we want you to be pointed and direct when you're asking these questions. Kimberly?
Yes. Well, good evening, everyone. And thank you for having me. And thank you for all the organizations that put this, because education is key. I've worked with 365. You're always at our community events, ensuring that we educate people on their rights, and how important it is to be registered to vote. So I want to thank you for, always being out in the community and doing what you're doing. So I represent the 11th Assembly District, which is in the town of Babylon. And it covers Wyandanch, Wheatley Heights, Amityville, Copiague, parts of Deer Park, West Babylon, North Babylon, and East Farmingdale. And with the new redistricting, I'll get just a little bit of North Massapequa starting next year. So I am running for I'm in my 8th year. I'm running for re-election this year, as my sister and mentor mentioned earlier, that we're going to have 2 primaries. And one is tomorrow, and then August 23rd is our New York State Senators, as well as our congressional candidates. So I'm actually the chair of the Women's Legislative Caucus, which is a bipartisan and bicameral organization, and it represents women in the Senate and women in the Assembly. And we have 73 strong women in both houses, which I'm very proud. And last year we had history where we made 75 women, and 2 women have moved on to bigger roles throughout the state of New York. And I also chair the Library and Educational Technology Committee in the State Assembly. I sit on education. I sit on Children and Families Committee, as well as banking. I think I answered the question. Did Deborah leave?
Yeah, Deborah left you.
Okay. She left me to host the show.
We left you to host the show, but I will bring in Miss Madeline Quintine and Dr. Allen to keep you company.
Okay. Oh, so it's not my favorite people.
So it's not just.
And I will say, I think the last question was the importance of voting. And I think a lot of the people spoke before spoke about representation and spoke about how important it is. I mean, Jackie talks about, how important a vote is. She wouldn't be there. Neither would I have been. Bob Sweeney served this seat for, 26 years, and he did it so graciously. But we've never had a Black woman, and I'm, the only Black woman, the only Black person in the state government in Suffolk County. And, I'm very honored to serve, and it's something that I take wholeheartedly and work so hard on. But it's a shame that I'm the only one. And so representation matters, voting matters, and it's so critical. We have so much in jeopardy. We finished session in June, but I'm going back up this week because there's so much things that are aligned. And, we talk about building leaders and building future leaders. We are in jeopardy of our education system. We are in jeopardy of our public safety. So there's a lot that when you step out your house and people say that they don't want to get involved in politics, but when you step outside your house and you are driving and you're worried about your potholes, that's politics. When you're concerned about how your park is not adequately clean, or there's no irrigation, or it's not safe, and you can't take your son or daughter on a swing, that's politics. When you walk into the supermarket and you have to watch over your shoulder, that's politics. So politics is not necessarily what you see on national TV, but it's your public safety. It's the quality of your education. It's how education is dependent upon your zip code. So politics is defined in our quality of life.
Politics, if there's politics in snow removal. So think about what's important to you and when it's important to you. You don't think about it until you hit that pothole or you have to go out there and shovel the street because there may not have been a plow. But yes, we have, we're going to bring this to a 5-piece set because we have another guest that we're going to bring on, and we want all on camera. And that's the one and the only Monica Martinez.
Hello, good evening. How is everybody? Hope everyone's well. My apologies for my voice, but this allergy season is killing me. It's definitely taking the best of me. But I just want to say thank you for having me here today. And I could not agree more with Assemblywoman Jean-Pierre, and not only past colleague, soon to be colleague again, but a dear friend. And again, for those of you who are not aware, I am running once again for the New York State Senate. I decided to run back in February, still deciding in December, right? But after speaking to my family, I thought it was the best decision for my family and I to really get back into things. And just like Kimberly was saying, so many things have going on in New York that we need people who actually go in it for the right reasons, right? Who love what they do, who love helping people, who love having those, those open lines of communications, a dialogue. And I just want to say that I'm looking forward to it. When I was in the Senate, we passed such great legislation. I can't be more proud than to have been part of a Democratic-led majority in the Senate, and obviously with the other house in the Assembly. We passed legislation that other states are asking for right now. And my apologies for coming on late, but I just heard a little bit of what Kimberly was saying too. Our rights as women are being targeted. Our rights as Americans as a whole are being targeted. I mean, everything that people have fought for decades is literally being fought and overturned. Sacrifice, lives, sweat, incarceration by individuals who try to make a difference. We're seeing it once again, and we really need to make sure that we put good people in office that will make that will take care of everyone, right? And not inflict their own personal views of how they feel or make it political. The fact that we as women are being attacked, and not just women, right? It's minorities as a whole. It's our LGBTQ plus community. It's our people who are disadvantaged economically. I mean, the young, you name it, it is going to be detrimental for everyone, And also, we talked a little bit about public safety before with Kimberly too. I mean, the fact that we're seeing a rise in gun violence, where we're seeing our children being killed in schools. We are now going to make gun laws even less restrictive. And this is what we're facing right now. This is what we're seeing at the national level, because we have individuals who have politicized what life should be. And listen, you have, the majority of you who are here have children. I don't have a child of my own, I could say, right? But I have my nephews, my nieces, my friends' children who I love as my family. I can't even imagine. And as a former teacher and a former educator, I can't even imagine being in a classroom and being fearful, not just for the lives of our children, but our teachers, our staff members, everyone, and even our parents who come in. So this is something that we really need to start looking into, and as to why are we using politics when it comes to people's lives? It shouldn't be. And I'm running once again because we need more voices up in Albany to get things done. We are facing right now with this election another potential rise in the Republican Party, right? And listen, I'm not going to say that, and everybody says like, well, all Democrats are bad or Republican. No, what we need is literally common sense people to be in office, to make these decisions, to make sure that we're protecting everyone and not looking at politics, because this is exactly what has happened. We're not looking at the overall scheme of things. We are just pinpointing because we don't like the other side. And this is not what America's all about. And that is definitely what New York is not about, right? New York is the welcoming state from the beginning of time, right? Even before, during the colonization period, it was New York who was always seen as the beacon of light, of people coming in, the Statue of Liberty, right? That we accept all, no matter what. And we're going to continue doing that here in the state of New York. And I hope to do that once again, once I am back in the Senate. I do have a primary coming up August 23rd. Good luck to anyone who has a primary this Tuesday, including our governor and Lieutenant Governor Delgado, who are running. But honestly, we just need to persevere and come together as a party as well. I think our own party is divided, and I think we need to come together as one. And that's what I've noticed too throughout all these years, is that we need to stick together, because if we don't stick together, that's when things become a little muddy and things begin to collapse.
I thank you so very much. I think that one of the points you brought up, you said felons, and we want to speak about felons and how the new law allows them to vote where they never thought that they could vote before. And the other thing I have to put up is my disclaimer that this is Voter Education 365, and we are nonpartisan, but we want all opinions to be here so that the viewing audience can come to their own conclusions. But we want to say that these individuals thought it not robbery to, one, be friends of mine, but to also be here tonight and to talk to you about the importance of voting. If you would like to be a friend of Voter Education 365 and sit right here in our studio and be able to talk about topics that we would like to bring forth, then you should email us at votereducation365@gmail.com. A notice about New York State rights to vote for former felons. A new law was passed in 2021 that restores the right to vote for a person convicted of a felony upon release from incarceration, regardless of if they are on parole or if they have a term of post-release supervision. If a convicted felon is not incarcerated, they are eligible to register to vote. Now in New York State, it's that simple. Bright line rule is what it's called. And if you are not incarcerated, if you are not behind bars, you can register to vote. That in my mind is revolutionary here in New York. That is where people who have not been able to vote for generations can now feel as though they're a responsible part of the community, contributing in ways that they could not contribute before. So we want you to make sure that you share that information. We also were told, this is the third time, and we want to make sure you hear it at least 7 times, that tomorrow's primary is half of what would have been the primary for tomorrow. Tomorrow's primary is the gubernatorial as well as the assembly. August the 23rd, that primary is your congressional and your state senate. Before we end here tonight, Dominique is going to read off again all of the different people who are running for office for tomorrow. If your organization would like to partner with us, as individuals have partnered with us, send an email to votereducation365@gmail.com. We would love to have you come and join us. We are hoping to have this every Monday night, but we think, to be realistic, we're going to do 3 Mondays a month. So that way, even some people rest. So we are going to have 3 per month that will be live, but we'll probably tape one so that way we will not have you to have to guess which one we're on. You just will have to guess which one is live. Okay, we have, I want to bring Jackie Gordon back out as well. Time is always so very precious, and we want to make sure that everyone here understands tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., go and vote in person. The weather is going to be nice. There's no impediments to weather. We're going to then have each one of our partners from this evening have a statement as we leave, but we want to make sure you vote tomorrow. Early voting is over. During early voting, you can go to any of the locations. Tomorrow, you have to go to your polling place. Do not go to an early voting site. Go to your polling place tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're going to start with Madeline. And Madeline, you have the floor.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It was absolutely outstanding. And each one of the candidates gave a wealth of information, but it was just more important to make sure that the community understands the involvement and the time that was given from each one of these candidates to showcase themselves, but give us an understanding of what they're all about, what their office is all about, and why we should or should not vote for them. And they think they did a marvelous job in presenting. I am so grateful that that Peyton Jones decided herself put this important effort together, because we all have to stand united as one. We have to advocate for the people so for them to understand that voting, like I said earlier, is a fundamental right. If we don't vote, don't complain. Take your souls to the poll. Do what you're supposed to do, and be encouraged that change will come, but it will not come if you stay home. So don't complain. And let's be about our Father's business. I always trust in God for everything that we do. And I know that we are all going to come together as one, as a people, because we have to do this together. Unity in the community is very prevalent now. Like I said, in this day, in this time, in this space, in this hour, now is the time. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you so much for the platform. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Suffolk County chapter, the force to be reckoned with, appreciate you.
Thank you, Madeline. We're going to throw this over to the one and only historian. If you have not heard or seen, before we go there, and this is going to be a shameless plug for Dr. Pamela Allen. Dr. Pamela Allen has retired from education, but she then committed herself to a program, an after-school program, Keep Your Change, that is housed in Amityville. I was born in Amityville, but anyway, that's another thing. Actually, it was Copiague Lakeside Hospital. It's no longer here, but that's another story. So she has after-school programs where she teaches STEM. She does so much with the children, and she has instructors that do it all for free every single day. And I don't know how many vacations you've had in the last, I can't even say how many years, but all of her instructors do it for free. So she didn't ask me to do this, but if you are an instructor of math, science, Dr. Pam, tell me what else that you would want to donate your time to give those who have been laboring long and hard for free a little respite every now and again, so we can have guest speakers coming in. Please, we're going to put your email, your something on there. You know what? Just send a message to votereducation365 at Gmail, and we will get it to Dr. Pam, because she needs, people are now seeing the fruits of her labor, and they are now dangling money over individuals that are teaching. And it's hard for a person who's committing and dedicating their time to then not want to then do something that's going to be financially beneficial to themselves. So we need people to help lighten that labor load, help teach these children. Tonight, before we came on this program, she had 30 students in her studio that they were lording over, and this is after school has closed. So that wasn't expected, but I had to do that for you. So and we're going to play this over and over again. So Dr. Pam, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I am so appreciative of this program. And I have to say that these women, Jackie Gordon, Kimberly Jean-Pierre, you have been here from day one working with our children. And we have children who have graduated through our program that are now employed and working for the town, for the county, and in other areas in our state. So we know the value of voting. And I just have to say, everybody, I'm getting emails, people are texting and messaging me for this, because we really sent out a Zoom that was crazy, telling people to come and watch. And so I know I have 150 people. And I just no, really, and I just want to say it's important. It's our responsibility. We have to vote. And when you guys come in here and talk to my kids and just explain to them what their role is and their responsibility, you have no idea how that just goes on and how much they see it. It's wonderful. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Deborah.
Well, truth be told, last week we had the power couple that I said it would be in Webster. If you see power couple, it would be the Robinsons. And they were our guests last week. And so Dr. Pam called me and she said, would you do another? I said, well, we have one planned for Monday. So I said, come on back and we'll be able to publicize this. We want to do it every Monday. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance. And, you know, we talked about the ladies. We have to pay homage to the one and only Steve. Steve is still here. Steve, let's bring Steve on camera.
All right. Yes.
We have to bring Steve on camera as well because he stayed throughout the entire event this evening. He was so taken with what was being said in the audience and the comments that we want to thank you. And don't think that we didn't know you were back there just because they didn't see you. We knew that you were still in our backstage studio. And that was really important. So oftentimes people say that the pandemic was just so horrible, but let's look at how we were able to do something with very little notice, but so timely to be able to bring to all the individuals that are out there viewing and how we were able to do this virtually, which leads me to a segue of virtual voter registration. Everybody knows someone that's not registered and they just are afraid of paper, I guess. They just don't want to do or fill out paper. If you have a license, if you have a permit, if you have a non-driver's license, you can go to the DMV's website and you can register to vote via the DMV. You can trust the DMV. The DMV it seems to me, in the last 5 years, they got all new equipment because there's no backlog, there's no delay. You are right on point. So if you know someone who would like to register to vote, we would like to get at least 2,000 people that say that they registered to vote electronically because they heard about it. So please, everyone here on the platform, share dmv.ny.gov. You go to that site and it's easy. They told me I can't be cheesy and put my PowerPoint up, but next week, I don't care, my executive producer, I'm putting my cheesy PowerPoint up and I'm showing people how and what the screen looks like. So when they go to the screen, they'll see it and they'll know what it looks like. Go to the DMV, register to vote. You can vote. It doesn't matter if you aren't registered right now. If you go to the DMV right now, tomorrow you'll be registered. You won't be able to vote in tomorrow's primary, but you'll be able to vote in August. So just be mindful. Share this information. Everything's not about killing a tree. You're already on the internet. You're already gaming or whatever you're doing. I have 10 windows open. Make it 11. Register to vote. Also, if you're 16 years old, we're going to take Voter Education 365 on the road, and we want to talk to 16 and 17-year-olds in their classes. Because what we want you to know is that you can pre-register at 16 years old, and the Board of Election will then take and make it official on your 18th birthday. So you don't have to remember to do something on your 18th birthday that you already have done. We would have been remiss had we not spoken about the new law for minors to then register, as well as for felons. And the third thing is for people to be able to register to vote virtually. That is a message that we're going to say with every single broadcast that we have, because we want at least 2,000 people to send us an email saying, yes, we registered. You can also join our Facebook page, Voter Education 365. Join our Facebook page so you'll know about timely and topical things as they happen. I say that all social action is fluid. Politics is fluid. If you wait for a week, you might miss something. So join our Facebook page. And when you're looking and you turn over and you look at Facebook, and I know that those of you who are young act like you're not on Facebook. When I tag your picture and you comment, I know that you're on Facebook. So don't tell me that you're not on Facebook. So thank you so very much. It's not just for old people. I think that, Kimberly, we're going to give you the last word.
Oh, awesome. I thought I was, before you left me, and I thought I was going to host a show, but you came back.
Well, you know what? There will be times, just like our own Joy Reid, we sometimes do have guest hosts. So
Just kidding.
you just never know.
Just kidding.
Dominique, before you start, Kimberly, Dominique is going to read off again who is running tomorrow so that people will walk in and know and at least maybe do a little research. Dominique?
Governor, can you mute yourself? Thank you.
It seems that we're having a technical problem.
Okay. So for governor, we have Kathy Hochul, Thomas Swazi, Jermaine D. Williams, Rob Astorino, Andrew Giuliani, Harry Wilson, and Lee Zeldin. For lieutenant governor, we have Anna Maria Arquilla, Antonio Delgado, Diana Reyna, and Allison Esposito. For comptroller, we have Thomas P. DiNapoli and Paul Rodriguez. For Attorney General, we have Letitia James and Michael Henry. For County Court Judge, we have John Ilu and Karen M. Walutis. For Family Court Judge, we have Rosa Maria Abate. For County Clerk, we have Lisa A. Jimenez, Judith A. Pascal, and Vincent A. Pulio. For County Comptroller, we have Thomas Dolan and John M. Kennedy Jr. For Member of Assembly, 1st Assembly District, we have Peter Gainley III and Fred Thiel Jr. For the 2nd Assembly District, we have Wendy E. Hamburger and Jody A. Giglio. For the 3rd Assembly District, we have Trina R. Miles and Joseph D. Stefano. For the 4th Assembly District, we have Stephen Englebright, Edward A. Flood, and Thomas Weirman. For the 5th District, we have James M. Anthony and Douglas M. Smith. And for the 6th Assembly, we have Philip R. Ramos and Kevin Surdy.
Thank you, Dominique, so much. Thank you so very much. That was a very angelic voice. So we thank you for helping us get ready for nap time. Kimberly, I always mess with her about her voice. Her voice is so beautiful and it really is melodic. And so anyway, I just had to say that.
So I guess I'll start off with that. It's so great to see that the young people are involved. And that's one of the reasons why that empowers me as a state representative, because it's so important that we keep young folks involved in government. We hire young folks. We diversify within our state government, within our local government, to ensure that young people are involved and that we don't become a desert on Long Island. I always say I went to Stony Brook through my graduate program, and most of my peers flee to the city for housing, for better opportunity for housing, better opportunity for work positions. But we have such a corporate business on Long Island, and that we need to make sure that we are filtering these jobs with young folks who are very talented. The New York City is taking them, and we need to make sure that we're providing and we're looking at things holistically, like we're looking at our education system, that it's equitable, and we're looking at that we're making sure that we're filling our state universities, because those are low you come out. I'm a product of CUNY and SUNY, and you come out with almost no debt, and you can, you could be successful. So we want to make sure that we're not just putting bandages on communities, but we're really looking at everything holistically. And by doing that, we're educating. And I think this platform, and I want to thank all the organizations. I'm a proud member of the 100 Black Women Suffolk County chapter. And I want to thank Black Long Island, 365, and everyone involved to making sure that we can get voter education and awareness out, because that is the only way that we're going to make changes and consistent changes, and making sure that government looks like the people that it's supposed to represent. And that we are making sure that we are letting young people know that their voices, starting with, early registration, and but not just creating policy, but creating journeys, creating pathways for young people like KYC is doing, but making sure that we are helping organizations like KYC who do so much with very little. So I want to just thank you for having me. And it's so amazing to really share this platform with some dynamic folks, at Engelbright, who is the dean of my delegation, who, we converse. We may not agree sometimes, we disagree, but we work together. And that is the key, that to make sure that we have people that, they may have the vision, but are they willing to work with everyone else, no matter what party they represent, but they're willing to represent people. That's the key. So again, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you to all of our collaborators. And thank you for the time that we have spent together. Oftentimes you say that we'll never get those moments back, but these are precious moments that we'll then remember. So also remember, Voter Education 365. Look for us on Monday, YouTube, Facebook. Join our Facebook page so that you can also share information that will be very important for the rest of the viewers and for people to see and hear. Also, if you'd like to be a collaborating organization, or if you'd like to be a guest on our show, we would love to have you. And you know what to do. Email votereducation365@gmail.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Monica. It's great seeing everybody. But I had to just say, Monica, it's great seeing you. And Dr. Pam Allen, I would be remiss if I didn't say it's because you said, let's do this before the election. I said, the election's on Tuesday, right? She said, oh my gosh. I said, but we're still going to do it because it was a great idea. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you all.
Madeline,
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Steve.
Thank you all.
Steve,
Good night.
we're gonna help you write some
Thank
bills.
you.
We're gonna come in for you.
Good luck, Engelbright.
Thank you, Monica. My dear friend Monica and Kimberly, I've had the privilege of working with each of you. I am inspired each time. I've had that privilege. I wish you all the best because we certainly need you to continue in your public service. You are my heroes.
Likewise, ditto. All right, queens and kings. See you later.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you again.
All right. Yeah.